Now, before I get into these promises and make my promises, there's a little bit that you need to understand about me and about my career, and I guess more than my career, about my journey in life and what got me started in the product formulation industry. And for those of you who don't know, I'm going to give you a little bit about that history and talk to you about my degree. I am what's called a pharmacognosist. A lot of people don't know what that is. You may have heard of it before. There actually is an American Society of Pharmacognostics, which I am a member of and have been a member of for well over 10 years. When I joined the society, there was only like 280 of us in the United States. And of those, there was like 5 white guys. Most of them were East Indians, Asians, Europeans. But in the United States, there was only one other that I knew here in Utah who worked for Nature Sunshine at the time. And then myself. So a pharmacognosy is a rare profession. But let me tell you a little bit about my journey, because I need you to understand me and who I am, so that when I make these promises to you, you'll know where they're coming from and who's giving these promises to you. I think my entire journey into this health industry, it might have began as a child. I do remember when I was 5, 6 years old, I took a trip to Southern California. I was born and raised in Idaho, and Idaho is a very cold place and bleak place, at least southeast Idaho, where I was born and raised, kind of in the middle of sagebrush. And we had 2 apple trees that seemed to freeze every year, so we didn't get many apples often. And we had a pear tree. And that was, when it comes to fruit and growing things, that was about it, other than what was in our garden. But we took a trip to Southern California. I specifically remember visiting my aunt's place in Fresno, and she had a beautiful cherry tree in her backyard. And I climbed that cherry tree, and it was ripe. They were perfect for eating. And I ate cherry after cherry after cherry. And by evening, I became very well acquainted with my aunt's bathroom. And I was fascinated about how something that could taste so good could have such a negative effect on my body. Cherries, by the way, if you don't know, they make your bowels really happy. Okay. If you eat too many, by the way. And I remember thinking that entire evening, like, how could that do that? And my grandma was kind of a self-made herbalist. I think all women growing up in the 20s and 30s and 40s were. She had a recipe book. Whenever I would catch a cold, she would put this comfrey and eucalyptus poultice on my throat. And then she'd put a hot rag that had been soaked in honey. She had a recipe called fire water. And by the way, I spent a lot of time with my grandma because both my parents worked. My dad was a traveling salesman, and my mom worked at the Votech College on the Indian Reservation in Fort Hall, Idaho. And so I spent a lot of time with my grandma, and that fascinated me. But I think my journey began when I made the choice to serve my Savior as a LDS missionary. At 18 years old, I chose to serve a mission. And if many of you don't know, in the Latter-day Saint faith, you don't get to pick where you go, and you pay for it on your own. I had saved up money. I had worked throughout my teen years and decided that that's what I wanted to do with that money. And I remember specifically wanting to go to Japan for very selfish reasons, you guys. I had taken a Japanese class my first year of college at Weber State University. It was a college back then. It wasn't a university, in 1988. And I loved Japan and the Japanese culture, and I loved the Japanese language. And I wanted to be an attorney. I wanted to be a lawyer and do business mergers and acquisitions, be a corporate lawyer between Japanese and U.S. companies, because in the 80s, Japan was the economic powerhouse of the world. And so I remember when I decided to become a missionary, there was 298 missions that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints had at the time. And because of my 3 years of Spanish speaking, I assumed that I would be sent to like South America. But I remember praying and praying so hard that I would serve him better, and I would serve him harder and work harder if he would send me to Japan, and more specifically Tokyo, Japan, which, by the way, there was 9 different missions in Japan at the time. So of the 298 some odd missions, 9 of those were in Japan, but I wanted to go to Tokyo. And I remember turning in my application and 2 weeks later getting my mission call. And when I opened it up, oh boy, I'm going to get emotional because it just reminds me, you know, how much the Lord is cognitive of all of us and how much he loves us. I was called to serve in Tokyo, Japan. Sorry. And I did. I kept my promise then, and I worked hard. And I learned the language. And I still speak the language today. In fact, it was the knowledge of the Japanese language that I gained that really pushed me forward into my career as a pharmacognosist. I served faithfully, came back 2 years later, instantly got a job working for an airline because of my Japanese language. They had just opened up routes to Japan and were looking for Japanese speakers. So I was a flight attendant, you guys, for a whole 8 months. The Gulf War started and I got furloughed, literally like stranded in Honolulu, Hawaii with no job. But on my last flight, I had worked first class and met a Japanese man who owned a very large travel agency, and he had given me his business card, and he was impressed with my Japanese language, and he told me that I could come work for him if I ever stopped working for the airline. It was that flight after I landed that I got furloughed because the airline was declaring bankruptcy. If you guys don't remember the Gulf War, the original Gulf War, fuel prices skyrocketed, tons of airlines went out of business. Mine was one of them. Anyway, so I went to work for his company, and it was while working at that company, I was sitting at the Sheraton Waikiki at their tour desk, Meititsu Travel, it was a large Japanese travel agency, that a man came walking by one day, George Nako, and Monica, his wife, were both distributors of Nu Skin. And he saw me sitting behind this Japanese language tour desk, the only white guy out of 20 some odd tour desks was all Japanese. Because again, this was the early 90s. Japanese were traveling the world. They were still the economic, wealthy powerhouse of the world. And he stopped and he said, hey, you know, my company is opening in Japan soon. And it wasn't really soon, but that's what he told me. And you should do this as a side business. I went to the meeting. I was talked into buying $500, a starter kit worth of product. By the way, I only had about $600 in my bank account at the time. It was not an easy thing for me to do, but I just saw something about these products. They resonated with me. Guys, I became a Nu Skin distributor, to make a long story short, and I did well. It took me a long time. Nu Skin was a unilevel. It took me 2.5 years to reach some of their top ranks. And before I was making $30,000 a month. And that was stupid, crazy money for a 22-year-old. I was just before I turned 23 is when I got my first big check, a $15,800 check. I remember that. And at the age of 23, I was pulling in a low of 25 to a high of $32,000 a month with Nu Skin. But I was able to use that money to go back to school. And I really loved the sciences. And I got good grades in the sciences. And I started taking food science classes. I was really fascinated with plant science. Again, back to that foundation when I was 5 years old, and then watching my grandma use herbs on me and experiencing the healing. Man, I remember about a strep throat, and my grandma put a poultice on my throat. It hurt so bad that night, and by morning, my strep throat was gone. I mean, that had an impact on me. So I really started studying the plant sciences. Of course, I had to do some general eds in biology and things like that. But 3 years later, I remember taking a food science class on preservatives, and I remember opening up the textbook on the very first day of this class and looking at the list of preservatives that I would be studying and recognizing a lot of those names. And I was still a huge Nu Skin distributor at this time. And so I had my bottle of Enhancer. If anybody remembers Enhancer, it was like the only product a guy could use because I used it like an aftershave. And I pull out Enhancer, and there was like 6 different preservatives in Enhancer. There was parabens. There was things that were in my textbook saying that they were harmful and had cancer-causing, they were cancer-causing agents. I had been brainwashed by Nu Skin to believe that it was all of the good and none of the bad, because that was their slogan. And I remember being devastated, literally devastated. And I remember that night I was supposed to give a presentation, and I had made up an excuse and asked one of my leaders to do the presentation for me because my mind had been rocked, because all of these ingredients that were crap was in these products I was selling. Within 2 months, guys, I couldn't sell Nu Skin anymore. Now, I wasn't about to give up the money. There was a few products that their body bar was really good. And I continued buying $100 worth of body bar just so I could stay active. But I quit the business, and I immediately started thinking and looking for other companies. And with the knowledge that I had gained already, even before I graduated and had my degree, I couldn't find a company that didn't have any of the crap that I had studied was crap. And so I left. Not just left, I started my own research and development company. Now, it wasn't overnight. I met a young woman. We dated and courted. I married her. And all this time, I was living off of my Nu Skin checks because I had no job. I had no income coming in except Nu Skin, because I was on a quest to try to find the purest products out there. And when I couldn't find them, in 1994, I was on this quest. And early March 1995, I started my own research and development company. And I started formulating products even before I had finished my schooling. In fact, starting that company, my first year, I did over $1 million in revenue, $1.2 million in revenue, just on research and development fees, you guys. And I had formulated like 4 products that I was selling out there. So I could tell that there was a huge demand for high quality products and clean label products, which really wasn't a thing back in 1994. It was cutting edge, and I had to do a lot of education. And as a matter of fact, the name of my company was Health Education Corporation. HEC is what we called it. So I ran that company for 18 years. And it took me a while to finish my schooling and to get my degree, because I was CEO of a startup company as well. I was recognized who's who among you young CEOs, because my company hit that $5 million range, which it's still considered a small size company. But at the time I did that, I was only 26 years old. But during that time, I was running Health Education Corporation and slowly taking classes to finish my schooling. Guys, I was able to formulate products during that 18-year time period I was CEO of that company. I formulated products and worked for some of the largest brands out there. I'll just name a few. I formulated products for doTERRA, for Young Living, for Nature's Sunshine. I wrote some of them down. Synergy, for LifeWave, for Metabolife, Max International, and many, many more. There's obviously more. At one point in time, I had 60 different clients that I was consulting for in 16 different countries. Of course, I was doing work in Japan. I was flying to Japan, Korea, Hong Kong, Taiwan, every other month. In fact, I was spending 2.5 weeks in Asia and then 2 months at home. I'd do a week in Europe, then 2 weeks in Asia, and then 3 weeks at home. Needless to say, it was horrible on my marriage. I was not a very great father. But I knew this industry inside and out. Guys, I was vice president of Asia operations for Atrium International before they were acquired by Nestle. I was overseeing the brand development and market development for Garden of Life, Douglas Labs, Pure Encapsulations, Tropic brands, all the Atrium brands that were acquired by Nestle. So I've worked for huge companies. I have worked with some of the biggest brand names out there. I co-founded in 2001 a network marketing company in Japan that had offices in San Diego and Bangkok. I was co-owner, vice president, and worked also as their chief science officer, formulating their products. That company was eventually sold and went on to become a very large network marketing company in Japan. I formulated a line of essential oils using only ISO standard medical grade essential oils from the European market. I developed liposomal technology company in 2014 and then went on to incorporate that company. And it's still in existence today, and I'm still a co-owner of that using nanotechnology and liposomes. And now I'm a co-owner of an oral strip development company. But among all of that experience, I don't say that to brag. I say that so that you know my journey and my experience in this industry. And I've traveled the world and worked for some of the biggest brands out there. And now I have the most amazing partner, and I get to co-found LifeWise. And finally, for one of the first times in my career, I get to focus just on formulating. I don't have to run the company. Rob and the team at corporate office in Hardy, Arkansas do that. I just get to be here with my oral strip company and my liposomal company, and I get to focus on formulating products for LifeWise. And that's really all I have to do. Of course, Rob and I talk about, day-to-day, I shouldn't say day-to-day, I should say the big decisions, whether we're going to move in this direction or move that direction. And, but for the most part, Rob runs the company. So I get to do what I do best. And I don't have handcuffs. And Rob, and I talk about the future of the products that we're going to develop. And he has said multiple times, dude, that's your department. You decide. I'm not gonna tell you what you can and can't formulate. So he has given me full reign, full control. And you guys need to understand something about me. I'm a highly competitive person. All right. So now that you know a little bit about me, a little bit about my experience and my life journey, and many of you already know, look, I was chief science officer for $100+ million network marketing company, but that wasn't my first, merry-go-round. Like I said, I actually owned a network marketing company in 2000 and 2001, 2002 that we eventually sold in 2002 to another Japanese company. But again, the experiences I've had have led me to this, I guess you could say, the pinnacle of the top of my game. I'm at that age now, right? I remember reading the book, what was it? It was, oh shoot, now I can't remember the title. The Millionaire Next Door, where they talked about your maximum potential income earning years. If you haven't read that book, it's a great book. Written by 2 PhDs. They mentioned that typically when you're in your mid-50s, you are at the best of your game and you're at your greatest income earning potential and stuff. And that's where I'm at now. All of these experiences I've had, you guys, have led me to literally this moment where I get to just focus on products for LifeWise, for a company I love, for a company I co-founded, for a company that I get to be the chief science officer and just focus on products. So with that said, I'm going to make you a 5-fold promise. It's the LifeWise product promise, and it's 5 things that I promise you. So write these down. We're going to keep this recording. We're going to post this recording because if I ever break my promise, which I never intend to do, you guys will come back. You're going to hold me accountable because this is recorded, all right? Promise number 1, I will continue to search the world, as I've done throughout most of my career, for the best ingredients ever. And I will know, same promise number 1, I will continue to search for the best ingredients in the world, and I will know my suppliers personally. So I'll know where the ingredients come from, I'll know the people behind the ingredient, I'll know the technology behind the ingredient. I get to choose the ingredients, okay? That's promise number 1. Promise number 2, I will only use manufacturing facilities that are third-party audited. That means CGMP, NSF. If it's in Europe, when we get big enough to where we have to manufacture in Europe, it'll be an ISO certified facility, updated with European standards. But right now in the US, NSF is the best we can get, and they're third-party audited. So you'll never have to ask me the question, hey, are your products third-party audited? Because I'm making you this promise right now. I will only use facilities that are third-party audited, all right? Promise number 2. I already spoke about this a couple weeks ago in a training. I will ensure that the molecule matches the delivery system and that the delivery system is real. I will never call something liposomal when it's not. I will never call something nanotechnology if it's not. I will never call anything flash release or quick release or whatever technology if it's not, okay? I will match the molecule with the delivery system, and it will be a real delivery system, all right? Number 4, I will only formulate products for LifeWise which I know will bring you optimal health and that are necessary for optimal health. Okay, I am not a Me Too guy. I am not a fad follower. Rob knows this. We've talked about this. I would love to do a weight management program, and we will do a weight management program, but it is not going to be a pop a pill, lose 24 pounds in 24 days, Hollywood diet type program. Okay, it is going to be a real weight loss program that will give you real results and that will be a lifestyle change for you, okay? So I will only formulate products that will impact your life. You will never see a Me Too or a fad product at LifeWise. And promise number 5, LifeWise products will be the best in the industry. And if they are not, if I ever find a formula, and trust me, saying that you're humble doesn't sound like you're humble, but I am humble enough and have conceded before when I have found an excellent product. If there is a product out there in one of the categories that we have that is better than what I have done at LifeWise, then I will not leave the lab until I have made something better. And if I cannot make something better, then I will acquire the rights to that formula so that we can sell it at LifeWise. Okay, that is my promise number 5. We will have the best products in every single category. So if you want to call it flagship product, call it the flagship product, but it will be the best in class and the best in its category, or I will reformulate it or acquire the rights to a formula if I don't have the know-how to formulate it. All right? Those are my 5 promises to you. And I hope you can take those to heart. I hope you know that I am a competitive person and I stand by especially that promise number 5. I get jealous when I see a product that is better than one of mine. It's like formulas are like my children. And you know how, like, as a parent, if you see a kid that happens to be not your kid and he's maybe brighter or more well-behaved or, better looking than your kids, and you get that little ping of jealousy there, okay, that's how I am with my formulas. And because this is something that I can control and can manipulate, unlike my own children, I will make my products the best. And that's it. That's my promise number 5. So write these down, keep this recording, take it to heart. This is the LifeWise product promise. And currently, just for your information, we do this right now. we do have some of the world's best ingredients in the industry. Many of our ingredients are patented. Many of them are trademarked. We have signed trademark license agreements with these suppliers that I do know personally, by the way. I have mentioned some of them to you in previous trainings. Our facilities are NSF certified. We do have the bioavailability enhancing technologies, what we call BET. Each one of our products has an advanced delivery technology or a bioavailability enhancing technology in the product. All other products we have are necessary for health. I think I've done that in my trainings before. I mean, we know the importance of getting a good night's sleep. We know the importance of building your immune system. We know the importance of mental cognition, of getting your daily nutrients every day, of controlling inflammation, of feeding every cell in the body. Boy, where's my radiance, my internal aging clock, winding that back. I don't have all the products here on my desk. Oh, of energy, quick responsive energy and staying hydrated. These are all necessary products for optimal health. I've already made this announcement. I won't make it here. I want to focus on the promise, but there are new products coming, and the products also are vital for not just your physical health, but mental and emotional well-being as well. And as I already mentioned, we will have eventually an amazing weight management program because that is also crucial for good health. Obesity is a serious disease, not just in this country, but around the world. It plagues almost every modern society. So more and more products will be developed and they will all be necessary for health. You will never see a fad product here. We're never going to have a magnesium product, okay? We get that in our whole food nutrition product. We're never going to have, what's something else I see out there? Like a keto product or anything like that, because personally I don't really believe in the keto diet, and we can do trainings on that later. But either way, you'll never see any of these fad products at LifeWise, all right? Thank you so much for your time today. Please share this promise with those who maybe have been burned before or who are searching for a pure, clean, honest company with their products, not the fad companies, but a product that can really impact and change your life. Because I think people will resonate with these 5 promises. So thank you again for watching tonight, and please share this information. Oh, let's see. I was supposed to do a couple of announcements. Number 1, Kansas City. If you have not signed up for Kansas City or North Carolina yet, please do contact corporate office. You can contact Ronnie to get your hotel information or the times and locations of the events. Boy, there was something else. Rob, if you're still listening, make in the comments. There was something I was supposed to announce. Oh, something about the kits. Oh, yes. Yesterday, Rob already mentioned it, but there are, we have reinstated a grace period until the end of May. If you joined LifeWise and didn't understand the importance of getting on WiseShip for the lead program, or maybe you didn't understand the importance of getting your sampler kit to get that silver bonus. I'll be honest, I was one of them. I didn't do the sampler product, and now every month I see that stupid silver, because I reach silver and higher every single week, and I see that bonus going out, and it's not in my paycheck. And I regret it. I regret it. So get that sampler pack so you can participate in the silver bonus pool. It's worth it, okay? Get on WiseShip. We are allowing you, if you've registered in the last several months and you didn't do lead on WiseShip and you didn't do your silver your sampler kit, now's your chance. You have to the end of the month, a special grace period for anyone who failed to do that. Through the end of the month, if you do that, then you can reach those qualifications and get those special bonuses that are assigned only to getting on the lead or getting your sampler kits. So those are the 2 announcements that I needed to make. So again, thank you for participating tonight. Have a good evening. Bye.